All right, the president now is reacting to a flood of information coming out about how the deep state targeted and, in fact, spied on his campaign. On Twitter earlier today, he wrote, "Look how things have turned around on the criminal deep state. They go after phony collusion with Russia and a made-up scam and end up getting caught in a major spy scandal, the likes of which this country may have never seen before. What goes around comes around." We've been saying that. Didn't we call this the year of the boomerang? It's exactly what this is. You have a criminal deep state, and it's all coming out at breakneck speed. Now, it's literally hour by hour, the things that we're learning. It's new and it's damning. The details are unbelievable. The president slamming the entire scandal and giving it a new nickname. This is the tip of the iceberg. Take a look.
We now call it SPYGATE. You're calling it SPYGATE. A lot of bad things have happened. I want them all to get together. They'll sit in a room. Hopefully, they'll be able to work it out among themselves.
Now, because new information is coming out at a rapid-fire pace, deep state actors like the arrogant, sanctimonious James Comey, they are racing to try and cover their tracks. Now, Comey fired off a pair of tweets this morning. Facts matter. The FBI's use of confidential human sources, the actual term, we call them spies, is tightly regulated and essential to protecting the country. Attacks on the FBI and lying about its work will do lasting damage to the country. How will Republicans explain this to their grandchildren? Well, here's a better idea, Jim. How will you explain what you did to your grandchildren? And you have to love how Comey is using FBI official jargon, confidential human sources, to try and spin this. Did you have a spy in the Clinton campaign? Did you have a spy in that campaign? He continues. Dangerous time when our country is led by those who will lie about anything, backed by those who will believe anything based on information from media sources that will say anything. Americans must break out of that bubble and seek truth. All right, speaking of lying, that's exactly what Comey did under oath in front of Congress when he falsely claimed that he didn't decide to exonerate Hillary Clinton before interviewing her and 17 other key witnesses. They were writing it months before. And you know why? Because Comey's corrupt. Thank God the president fired him. And he can't keep his big mouth shut. We advised him he has the right to remain silent. And the president is right to fire back at the disgraced former FBI director. Let's take a look at what he said.
I think James Comey's got a lot of problems. If you look at what he did, if you look at all of the lies, the tremendous lies, if you look at all that's going on, I think James Comey's got a lot of problems. Now, at some point, they have an IG report, and then let's see what James Comey has to say. But I assume he's covered in the IG report. But if you look at what he said, all of the lies, all of the fiction, I think he's got a lot of problems. I did a great service to this country by firing James Comey. And, excuse me, a lot of people have said it. And you go into the FBI, and a lot of those great people working in the FBI, they will tell you, I did a great service to our country.
My FBI friends tell me that every day, and they are helping to expose the corruption in their agency. They want the truth out because it's not rank and file. So the soon-to-be-released DOJ IG report is supposed to hammer Comey's corrupt handling of the Clinton email investigation. We know it was rigged. We know Clinton committed felonies and crimes and obstructed justice. And Comey and his buddies and Strzok to put the fix in to save Hillary's campaign. Then they quickly started spying on the Trump campaign. Where's the warrant? Where's the justification? Now, Comey's deep state buddy, former Obama Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, he is now in a panic, rushing to try and save himself. Now, he's running from liberal media outlet to liberal media outlet, promoting his new book, just like James Comey did, and trying to spin what is a false narrative. Take a look at what he said with the ladies on The View.
I ask you, was the FBI spying on Trump's campaign?
No, they were not. They were spying on a term I don't particularly like, but on what the Russians were doing, trying to understand, were the Russians infiltrating, trying to gain access, trying to gain leverage and influence.
So why doesn't he like
what they do?
So why doesn't he like that? He should be happy though.
Well, he should be.
Really? The president should be happy? The Obama administration and people in the FBI were spying on his campaign without a warrant that we know of? And then the FISA warrant, they lied to 4 judges? Is that not the deep state trying to destroy his candidacy, now presidency? And at this point, Clapper's he's straight up delusional. The president, good for him. He's not letting these lies slide either. He's taking them head on.
When they look at the documents, I think people are going to see a lot of bad things happen. I hope it's not so, because if it is, there's never been anything like it in the history of our country. I hope, I mean, if you look at Clapper, he sort of admitted that they had spies in the campaign yesterday, inadvertently. But I hope it's not true, but it looks like it is.
This is the biggest abuse of power corruption scandal in this country's history. It shows you just how pretentious, how egotistical people like Clapper and Comey really are. Now, they don't see that the crossfire hurricane, well, it's now coming their way. The wind has shifted the direction. And like we have been warning, they both have the right to remain silent, apparently not listening to me. Now, what Comer and Clapper have done, here is orchestrate a massive abuse of power, the biggest in American political history. Look at investigative journalist Cheryl Atkinson out with another great article, 8 signs pointing to a counterintelligence operation that was deployed against Trump's campaign. Here they are. Code name, the FBI had one. Crossfire Hurricane from Jumpin' Jack Flash of the Stones, which is the operation where they spied on the Trump campaign. Wiretap Fever. Cheryl Atkinson is pointing out how 7 Trump associates were caught up in this surveillance web. You also have the massive abuse of power, FISA abuse, lying to FISA judges on 4 occasions, spying on Carter Page, using a Clinton bought and paid for dossier, not telling, of course, the judges in that case, never verifying, never corroborating. National security letters, the FBI bypassing all judicial approval to obtain phone records by using these national security letters. In other words, the power of our intelligence community. We saw the unmasking, a dramatic 350% increase from key Obama officials, wow, magically in the 2016 election year. Changing the rules, remember, in December of 2016, Clapper making it easier to share intelligence across all these government agencies. That helps them cover. Media strategy, Clapper, Brennan, both regulars in the liberal media. Clapper reportedly leaking details about this phony bought and paid for Russian dossier to fake news CNN, where he now works and is paid. Leaking anonymous sources. They have been running to friendly outlets to selectively put out information, all designed to propagandize and lie to the American people and damage President Trump. And friends, informants, snoops, the FBI had this informant, maybe others, spying on the Trump campaign. Comey had his friend leaking to the New York Times to get a special counsel, which, by the way, that probably was illegal. And the Bureau working with former British spy, in other words, a foreign operative, Christopher Steele, he put together this Clinton bought and paid for dossier. The evidence of wrongdoing is overwhelming. It is incontrovertible, not to mention, as we told you last night, and Sarah Carter further explained, the FBI's timeline is now collapsing, and the investigation's not adding up. Former Obama AG Loretta Lynch telling Congress that the FBI, the DOJ officials were discussing Trump campaign associate Carter Page in spring of last year. Maybe that would have been a good time to go say, Mr. Candidate, Mr. Trump, I want you to watch. There might be some people that we have an eye on. Remember, Trump said the most exculpatory thing he said to Comey was, if anyone around my campaign, I want you to do your job. And we've been told the investigation officially started in July with George Papadopoulos. So this timeline is way off. It's going to the spring of 2016, which is why Congress needs to now see all the documents. Attorney General Sessions, I hope you're watching tonight. Also, Judicial Watch learning that the FBI will order Trump-hating FBI lovebirds Strzok and Page to preserve agency records on their personal accounts and on their personal devices if they haven't already acid washed them. And according to Judicial Watch, earlier this week, a judge ordered the FBI to start processing 13,000 pages of previously undisclosed emails between Strzok and Page. We can only imagine what are in those text messages and emails, seeing how they trash Trump constantly in their text messages, and Strzok at the center of all of this. And then you have Senator Grassley. He's raising a red flag and a very disturbing message from Strzok and Page that actually suggests the White House of Obama is running this, meaning the Obama administration. Now, it's unclear what investigation specifically they're referring to, which is why everything needs to be unredacted. But they did talk an awful lot about Trump. And another top story tonight is absolutely stunning. Kerry Pickett, she's at the Daily Caller, reporting several FBI agents want to be subpoenaed by Congress so they can finally expose all the misconduct and corruption under Comey and, of course, Andrew McCabe. Now, these FBI agents, they're also saying that they want to see McCabe prosecuted since he lied under oath 3 times to the Inspector General. Wasn't that what General Flynn was accused of? Oh, and by the way, we know that nobody in the FBI thought he lied. This is why we always say it's the upper echelon here at the FBI, in the intelligence community, the DOJ, who are the deep state actors, not rank and file. They're helping us get to the truth. And if it wasn't for these people at the FBI, we wouldn't know the truth in the end. They are serving our country with honor and dignity and integrity and respect. They are ashamed of what their former bosses did and furious about what has happened. That's why it is so important for all of us to get the truth. Release the documents. Also tonight, it's put up or shut up time for Rod Rosenstein, the king of slow walking, stonewalling, and obstruction. Republican Committee Chair Devin Nunes, Trey Gowdy, they're set to meet tomorrow with top FBI, DOJ, intelligence officials about the documents they have been requesting forever to see. And I got to tell you, given Rosenstein's track record, there's no way he's going to hand everything over. It's only going to be a briefing, and here's why. Rod Rosenstein, he wants to be able to control the flow of information, just like he's been doing from the get-go, begging Paul Ryan, oh, don't release the information about FISA abuse. Remember, Sarah Carter reporting information that Congress is trying to see will hold the keys to all of this spying on the Trump campaign. Rod Rosenstein has more problems than just stonewalling tonight. Look at what law professor Steve Calabrese is now arguing, that Rod Rosenstein's appointment of Robert Mueller is in fact unconstitutional, as the great one Mark Levin said last night. He cites the majority opinion in Morrissey versus Olson. Now, the basic problem being that Mueller is more powerful than all 96 U.S. attorneys. Mueller was also never nominated, never confirmed by the U.S. Senate. And because Robert Mueller's appointment is unconstitutional, and that renders everything that he has done since May 17, 2017, null and void. And that's why we heard just a couple of Fridays ago, Judge T.S. Ellis III demanding to see Rod Rosenstein's scope memo that gave Mueller the ability, supposedly, to carry out this witch hunt. Now, Judge Ellis just eviscerated Mueller's team and his pit bull, Andrew Weissman, for going after Paul Manafort on a 2005 tax fraud allegation that has nothing to do with Russia. And he called out Mueller for putting the screws, the judge's words, to Manafort. Why? To get him to sing. Remember, singers can also compose and flip on Trump so they can prosecute or impeach him. And as far as Rod Rosenstein goes, Steve Bannon says Rosenstein could, in fact, be fired, and very soon. We'll have to wait and see what that's all about. Also tonight, take a look at this headline from the American Center for Law and Justice. It was a favor factory. Deep state forced to turn over thousands of Clinton-era State Department emails to about the Clinton Foundation debunking supposed firewall. Now, the ACLJ reporting that the State Department will be turning over nearly 30,000 emails between Hillary Clinton's State Department and her family foundation. This is why I keep saying, I know it takes more time than you want. We're unpeeling layers of an onion. And that means they were in constant communication. And as the AP discovered in 2016, more than half of these people who met with the Clintons while she was serving as Secretary of State ended up either personally or through an organization giving money and funneling it back to the Clinton Foundation. And another major development tonight. Clock is ticking for the DOJ and the FBI to hand over documents to the Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley about this highly suspicious case of Michael Flynn, a man who served this country for over 30 years. Grassley wants to see the documents related to Flynn's FBI interview. As James Comey told Congress, the FBI agents who talked to Flynn, they didn't think he lied. So why did Robert Mueller charge General Flynn with lying in the first place? And also tonight, President Trump revealing new details about his potential June 12th summit with Little Rocket Man. Fox and Friends co-host, our own Brian Kilmeade, spoke with the president earlier today out on Long Island after his roundtable on MS-13 gang violence. Take a look.
June 12th, are you going to be in Singapore?
We'll see what happens. I mean, right now we're looking at it. We're talking about it.
They're talking to us. We have certain conditions. We'll see what happens. But there's a good chance, and it would be a great thing for North Korea. If that happens, it'll be a great thing for North Korea. Most importantly, it would be a great thing for the world. So we'll see what happens.
Right. All right, don't miss that full interview tomorrow starting 6 a.m.